But there was this project that Ellen informed me about in Sunol, around the Sunol Water Temple, and a village site that was there, that was discovered, that was uncovered and excavated. Can you talk about that project?
I wasn't a part of that project. I came in towards the end. Si Tupantak, it was a village site, a 2,500-year-old village site. So I could talk about the DNA analysis that was done there.
Please
and
do.
How through Stanford researchers and Illinois researchers showed the connection from our council members to 12 ancestors that were recovered there. So it's just another piece of the evidence that we add to the massive amount of evidence that we do have, is that it just confirms everything we've always been saying, that we are the people from this area, and we've never left, and we're still here.
I mean, just so everybody knows, that analysis of those remains were published in the highest profile academic and national journalist publications in the country. So the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, which is definitely the highest profile scientific publication in the country, and then the New York Times and USA Today and all of the major newspapers. And what was found was exactly what Chairwoman Charlene has said, was a direct genetic connection between these ancestors who were over 10,000 years old?
2,500.
2,500 years old, and contemporary members of the tribal council. So again, the question should never be how much more proof do we need, but how can it be that this hasn't already happened? Who amongst us can show that kind of ancestry, can show that kind of continuity with genetic material? That's just unbelievable. Does anybody want to comment on that?
Like you, I'm incredibly impressed by that. When you think about the population of the Bay Area, in 1800 there were tens of thousands of Muwekma Ohlone here. And when you think back into time, 10,000 years, hundreds of thousands of Muwekma Ohlone have lived here. And to be able to find that signature in the living members of the tribe is incredible. I mean, it's very impressive. It really is. Especially when when you think about our ancestors.
Exactly.
In Europe, and these mass migrations and how we never stayed in anywhere very long, right?
Exactly.
We kept moving and conquering and spoiling and moving again. And, to have a link to 2,500 years ago and 10,000 years ago and 15,000 years ago, as all the First Nations do here in North America, it's really incredible.
I'm not surprised, because I've always been told we are from this land, and we've never left, and we don't plan to leave now.
But it must have been thrilling when you found that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
But not surprised.
Not surprising.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think once again one's left with just the incredulity that the tribe is not reaffirmed with these kinds of evidences, multiple lines of evidence, and that coming from, again, the partnership between science and the tribe, right? It was the tribe that permitted that analysis, the tribe that authorized that analysis, and that's a very strong narrative in the anthropological community. Unfortunately, that tribes are opposed to science, that tribes want to grab these remains and put them in a place where scientific analysis can never take place. And I always cite the example of Muwekma Ohlone as a complete and total disproof of that notion that that sovereignty and the reassertion of native identity are in any way opposed to the advance of scientific analysis. But they go best when they're hand in hand.
Right. It's so true. And my mother took a different approach to science, Because when white anthropologists in the 80s, when they were doing the science, they only spoke of us of the past. And that was her biggest concern, is we are no longer going to be talked about like we're in the past. We are still here, and we're going to do this analysis because we can benefit from this. And we can use to show that we are here. We're still, we are the same people that have never left these lands, and we're going to tell our own story. We're not going to have these guys over here tell our story because they're saying we're extinct, and we're not. So she took on that role to share the story and work with the friendly people who wanted to work in partnership with the tribe to do that analysis and do that work. And we're still doing it today. It's not easy, right? Because we do have that stigma where tribes don't like to do analysis. But we had to continue to prove who we were, and we're still doing that today. That's the sad part in all this, is we're still trying to prove who we are. But that was one of the reasons why we did that analysis, to take control of our own story and share it ourselves.